people see anything for themselves, it's the fact that proven data simply can't be disputed.
My. And at the beginning of our show, we urge people, if you're in Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, and other states with elections today, be sure you vote, because you heard what Johnny said. A voteless people is a hopeless people. Come on, you got to vote. You have that right. Go ahead and exercise it. So now I'm turning our attention to this week. We're so excited about tomorrow, honoring the foot soldiers. We can't wait. For those of you who are listening and saying, I want to come, I want to join the Transformative Justice Coalition at this event tomorrow for our 10th anniversary, you can go to Eventbrite, look up Transformative Justice Coalition, and you will see the ability to get a ticket and even to come for free. We look forward to having people there from 4 to 7. We have a number of Congress people who are going to be joining us and bringing comments. So please make sure that you go onto Eventbrite or go to tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org. Now, Daryl, let's talk about this week, because this is the Congressional Black Caucus Week. I know that the effect of the evil that's been done by the occupation, I've spoken to people who told me they're not going to come because they don't want to be in D.C. and dealing with troops on the ground, armed troops on the ground. I've also heard people saying they can't come because of the anti-DEI, the effect of those policies of taking money away, and the high unemployment that the African-American community is experiencing. So there's so many issues going on right now. What do each of you hope will come out of this year's Congressional Black Caucus Annual Legislative Caucus meeting for those who are able to be there and those who get involved? What do you hope will happen? I'm going to start with Lamar. Lamar.
Yeah, no, you're fine. I will say I was just talking to Miss Janita yesterday, and actually what I would hope comes from this conference is our youth getting opportunities that they have never imagined. I would say, prime example, last year, I actually stopped by the Transformative Justice Coalition session
sure
to meet fellows, and through that, I actually got a 16-week contract with the League of Women Voters back in North Carolina. A huge shout-out to Ramel, who was the national organizing director at the time. And I truly, honestly believe, for one, I think I was at the right place at the right time, but I also know that it was because I was tied to Transformative Justice Coalition, and he already knew the leadership that was in the room, but I also felt that he understood the impact that this organization had on me and the impact that I could have on the organization when I got back to North Carolina. So huge shout out to League of Women Voters, Ramil, and just the things that you all have taught us through the conference and so on.
Wow. Daryl?
Yeah, and Brother Johnnie Brooker, with regards to all that's going to be going on during the CBC weekend, one of the things that's going to be happening is that the Transformative Justice Coalition is teaming up, is partnering with the National Urban League, and people can go to tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org, to get more information about when you can attend this conference that we're going to be having on Saturday. Brother Booker, one of the questions I want to ask you is, people are listening to this program and they think, oh, y'all ain't all that with TJC. It can't be everything that I'm hearing these folks talking about. Why should people come this Saturday to learn about TJC, National Urban League, and what we do, not in the classroom, but in the streets?
Yes, sir. I appreciate that question, man. But I would say young people need to attend these types of training events and forums for the simple but imperative reminder of what is actually going on in our nation, right? I believe young people, they work best when they feel affirmed that we can be the change, but we are the change, right? Let me say it again. We can be the change, but we are the change right now. When you have people who said civil rights should be revoked, it's evident on why your voting rights matter, right? When we have laws put in place in Texas and Florida to suppress our voices, that's evident on why we need to be at events such as the ones that you named. We have politicians actively fighting, and they're successful in their gerrymandering plans. It's even more evident that we need to show up to these type of events. When we don't vote, Project 2025, which is currently getting enacted, we need to show up to these events, right? When we don't vote, people who are claimed to have been hired based on merit but are clearly not, to continue to tear down structures that were already implemented, is all the reasons and more on why we need to show up to these events. This event and forum will cover all that and equip young scholars with what we need to go forth on this life's journey.
Absolutely. Same question, to you, Dr. Wiltz. When you think about it, Kylar, just what do you hope is going to happen at this year's CBC to really address the issues we're confronting and to help young people?
Yeah, absolutely. I always kind of go to this quote. I was a social justice fellow with the Memorial Foundation this past year. And Bishop Tom Watson, I've used this quote a lot frequently because, that really hit the nail on the head, where he essentially said we don't lack resources as much as we lack togetherness, right? Mm-hmm. And to us, especially within this type of climate, that's what the CBC is, right? It's our ability to kind of congregate from all corners of the world, all backgrounds, to kind of come to DC, connect, network, spread opportunities, create dialogue, have conversations about how can we unite on these different fronts. And I think it's imperative for young people to be in these spaces, right? I don't know how much into world politics or world news many of our listeners are, but we're now witnessing a youth revolution, who some are comparing to the Arab Spring, but in Southeast Asia, right? If people have been keeping up with the news, Gen Z and millennials and zillennials, that whole age group, essentially and effectively overthrew the government, largely because of the equity issues in economics, education, opportunity, so on and so forth. So as the good brother said, us young people, we are the change, right? It is our duty to speak up and to use our voices, and especially when we look at our Black and brown communities, right? The civil rights community, Dr. King was in his 20s, early 20s when he started. The students at Fifth University, when they decided to do the freedom rides and to do the sit-ins, these are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids that ignited the largest social justice movement in American history. There is no better time than now to speak up, to stand up, and to do something about the injustices that we're witnessing, because we aren't promised tomorrow. I like to kind of make it similar to how, in the church, they say that wherever two or more are gathered and are praying, that's enough for God. Why can't we take that same approach to standing up to what we are experiencing now? All it takes is one person to stand up and say that this is wrong and to kick off organizing. And then you go from 1 to 2, then 2 to 4. And next thing you know, we're starting to see the organizing. We're starting to see the more people registering to vote. We're starting to see the necessary tactical and strategic steps that are needed to overcome something such as Project 2025. I think the tracker right now has it at 45% complete. And we have barely gotten over the 50% mark of the first year of a 4-year term. To me, what that means, more so than that they're just this effective regime, is that we are being ineffective as an opposition. Whether it be, we could say the Democrats, whether we could argue the grassroots, whatever it might be, we need to come together and be more effective in how we are addressing what we are experiencing right now from this government. And it's up to us. It's up to young people. It's always been up to young people.
My, love that. Always. Daryl, we trained 800 young people over these years. As we, since in the 10 years of our existence as TJC, and we're going to train more on Saturday, September 27th, 9:30 to 1:30. We're going to be at the UNCF building. If you want more information, please go to after the National Urban League's website or go to tjcoalition.org. Join us, please. And finalizing this show, because we're at the end of the show, we want to thank these amazing guests. Can you quickly, each of you, tell people how they can keep up with you? Because they're like, I got to know how to know more about each of them. Lamar, will you start by telling people quickly how they can get in touch with you, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn at Lamair Bryan, and you can also find me on Instagram at The Market. It is THE_MARRKET. Would love to speak with you, and thank you all so much for having me.
Yes, and Johnny, the same.
Yeah, just like my brother Lamar, you can find me on LinkedIn and on Instagram, Johnnie_Brooker, JOHNNIE_Brooker, BROOKER. Thank you again for having me.
Oh, my goodness, yes. And Dr. Wiltz.
Yeah, and similar to my fellow TJC brothers, you can follow me on LinkedIn or connect with me at Kylar, KYLAR Wiltz, WILTZ, or on Instagram at Dr. Wiltz, DRWILTZ. Thank you again so much for having me. And it was a pleasure to speak on this episode with these two amazing brothers. And again, happy 10th birthday to TJC. We're going to get to 10, 20, 25, and hopefully 100 years down the line, TJC will continue to push and build on this amazing foundation.
You are fantastic. Can't wait to see you and everyone tomorrow. This is going to be so exciting. We are so excited. Let me turn it over to Daryl because he knows I can go. But just want to remind everybody, get ready. October the 18th, No Kings 2. October the 18th, mark your calendar now, No Kings 2. We're going to stop this attempted fascist overtaking of our society and of our government. We're not going to stand for it. We're going to stand up and make our voices loud and heard. Daryl.
That's right. October the 18th, No Kings 2. October the 15th, you can meet us at the Supreme Court as we fight against the Supreme Court justices trying to impact our voting rights across the country. Will be at the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. A special thanks to all of our guests today, Representative Kathy Sykes, Rodrigo Rousseau, Dr. Kenneth Glasgow, all for joining us. Of course, a special thanks to our TJC fellows and alumni, Lamair Bryan, Kylar Wiltz, and Johnnie Brooker III. Thank you all for being with us today. Folks, you know what we're going to say. When it's time like this, when the times are rough, you got to get off the sidewalk, get into the street, open your voice, and let your voice be heard. Let your issues be heard. Until next Tuesday, noon, Eastern Standard Time. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Urban One Incorporated, Radio One, or any of its subsidiary companies.
The preceding program was paid for by Barbara Arnwine.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
News Talk 1450 and 95.9 WOL with the Carl Nelson Show. Weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. Reverend Al Sharpton keeping it real from 1 to 4 p.m. And the Tavis Smiley Show from 4 to 7 p.m. Download our mobile app and take us everywhere you are or listen live at WOLDCnews.com. The news and issues that matter to you most from Carl Nelson, Reverend Al Sharpton, and Tavis Smiley on 1450 and 95.9 WOL. 1450 WOL, Washington, D.C. 95.9 W240DJ, WMMJ HD3, WDCJ FM HD3, and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the host